a prescription for a tablet that when you take it, you get the benefits of exercise. It is the first prescription I would write. It would probably be the only prescription I need to write. But up to now, we have no medication which is equivalent to the beneficial effects of exercise.
Giving up smoking can also be another life-saving step to take. Day by day, smoking mingles with the breath of life, darkening our lungs, endangering our lives. As many know, smoking not only endangers the life of the smoker, but the smoke also saunters casually into the lungs of those around us, our families, our friends, hurling upon all the burden of cancer, heart disease, and other illnesses. Our Caribbean has its strengths, its hospitality, its dynamic cultures, its unique people and pastimes. However, our program seeks to show that despite the immense energy and indomitable spirit of our populations, we remain human, with all the susceptibilities that come with being human. Disease is an unfortunate aspect of our lives which we must face armed with information and awareness. We hope that this program will provide you with the necessary tools to improve the quality of your health and lifestyle.
We want to change people's mindset. We want them to get hold of the fact that they are in charge of their health.
Programs like these, which allow us to share information between the islands, are very good because international programs don't actually address the problems that are specific to our local experience.
Programs like these, you can't gauge the importance of a program like this. It's very important that a program like this gets into every corner of the Caribbean, from Miami to Guyana. It needs to get into every corner.
We've got to look at health as an investment. As politicians, as planners, as organizers and leaders in the country, we've got to look at this as investment. At the level of the patient, he or she too has got to look at an investment in his future well-being. If I invest today in doing sensible things, I will reap a reward in the future in a good, productive, long, healthy life.
In this series that pertains to your health and well-being, we aim to provide valuable information to Caribbean people of all walks of life and how you can handle the particular health issues that affect all of us. We hope that during this series of Caribbean medical episodes, you will join us to take an inside look at medical procedures, treatments, old wives' tales, and the historical and social factors involved in preserving and maintaining our health. I am Judy Chong Dennison, and we look forward to you joining us on our next episode of Caribbean Medical.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, the Christian community calling for an ease of restrictions as it relates to time allotted for worship and services. Also, Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister in Abaco takes his position. And a man accused of housebreaking and stealing had his day in court. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening. Bahamas, I'm Shashina Roll-Farkas, and as always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the government continuing to lift some restrictions as it relates to various aspects of the emergency orders, including easing of curfew hours and more businesses gaining operational freedom. While tonight, the president of the Grand Bahama Christian Council says that the Christian community is awaiting an easing of restrictions as it relates to the church. Megan Shepard has more.
President of the Grand Bahama Christian Council, Reverend Dr. Robert Lockhart, says that churches and Christian leaders are anticipating some positive changes as it relates to how the emergency orders affect worship in the country. Currently, church services, weddings, and funerals are restricted to a 1-hour time limit. Reverend Lockhart says that they await to see the plans of the Davis administration.
I've been in communication with the Bahamas Christian Council President, Bishop Delton Fernando, and he's communicated to me that they have sent a communication to the Prime Minister and waiting for his response. Of course, we see that the curfew time has been extended to 12 o'clock, and of course businesses are allowed to function as normal, and so we believe that churches at this time should be allowed to function as normal also. And as we've always done so, we'll continue to do so, to follow all of the necessary health protocols to make sure that people are safe in the church worship environment. And I think we've been doing a great job of that, and we'll continue to do so. But we're looking forward to very soon that the normal times, the restrictions on time for worship services will be removed.
Reverend Lockhart explains the importance of face-to-face worship and fellowship.
People need to coming to worship God and to have that worship experience and receive spiritual and emotional support is very important as the community move ahead, as well as the economic situations that we were dealing with. Also, people need to be able to have that spiritual support that the church provides, and so we look forward to that and hoping that that'll be adjusted very soon.
However, he admits that sometimes there are small challenges. Reverend Lockhart adds that the Christian community looks forward to working with and communicating with relevant government and health officials.
Weddings and funerals sometimes are a little bit different because they're family gatherings, and of course people are very close to each other, and what happens sometimes in those environments is that people have a tendency to throw a little bit of caution to the wind, because that's my auntie, uncle, sister, brother, cousin, and people are close. And of course, there are also time of weddings is a time of rejoicing and happy, people congratulating each other, in a time of celebration. Funerals is a time of mourning, and people want to comfort each other and be close to each other, so we always understand that. But definitely for the church services, we see no reasons for that to linger in any way.
Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
While the country continues to fight an uphill battle as it relates to the increasing number of illegal migrants attempting to enter the country, the president of the Grand Bahama Christian Council, Reverend Dr. Robert Lockhart, says that he is pleased to see that churches on the island of Inagua have stepped up to house and feed the large number of persons on that southern island.
That we must be kind to even the strangers in our land, and that's important. We need to treat people as they are, human beings, and in that context, we're all precious in God's sight. We know the plight of what's happening in Haiti, and we know that these persons are pretty much trying to find a better life. Of course, we have our laws in the Bahamas, and we expect the government and the authorities to make sure that our laws are followed, and so these people need to be treated humanely and treated as well as we can treat them, but at the same time that they'll be taken back safely to their home.
Reverend Lockhart says he is encouraging Bahamians to not only pray for the country of Haiti, but also for Bahamians who are directly affected by the issue at this time.
We know what's happening there right now. Let's continue to pray for them, that there'll be some stability there, that there are people, greater opportunities. And this is something we've been dealing with for years. But I believe that we need to continue to partner with our Haitian brothers and sisters and pray that that God would help them to overcome this situation that they've been in for decades, and see their country come to a place where their people would have greater opportunities economically, that they can remain at home and wouldn't have to take the dangerous trips and efforts that they do, just trying to find a better life, and we understand that. And so I think our Defense Force and immigrations. I think they're doing a tremendous job. Let's continue to pray for them. And for the people in Inagua, I know they're very much concerned. There are probably more immigrants there now than residents. And let's continue to pray for them and pray that the whole situations continue to go well and that we're able to repatriate these persons safely back to their homeland.
In other news, Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for North Abaco, Kirk Cornish, telling ZNS News that his transition into office has been met with concerns by residents about the island's rebuilding efforts. He says a review of the island's estate is underway and plans on the revitalization of the island of Abaco is high on the agenda of the nation's leader, Prime Minister Philip Davis. The Parliamentary Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Kirk Cornish, says that his transition into his new role has been a smooth one, and most of his time spent so far has been hearing the concerns of residents on that northern island. The major concern is the rebuilding of Abaco since the passage of Hurricane Dorian.
As it stands, seeing quite a number of persons on a daily basis coming and expressing their needs for restoration materials and many other stuff. Collecting names, telephone numbers, and information that will be able to assist me as soon as the review is completed and we are able to chart our way forward.
Many remain in domes and displaced as a result of the storm. Cornish highlights two areas of focus as they work to restore North Abaco.
During my canvassing, of course, restoration was key. I've heard it over and over, I've seen it, and it's important that we get our island restored, get people back in their homes. It will assist in creating commerce, because once persons are back on the island, they tend to consume fuel, food, and it creates commerce. Jobs are created. Also, there's a dire need to get our schools up and running, get our kids in school. Education is the key, and I think we're doing a great disservice to the kids being out of class.
And although he has only received his appointment 1 week ago, he believes that Abaco has waited long enough for help. And that is why, upon conclusion of a review of the island's economic state, the plan is to move swiftly to give help to those who need it most.
The need is extremely real. How do you tell somebody to be patient or to understand or give me time when you need to eat, when you need shelter? The reality is you do need time, but how do you tell them that? I mean, that these needs are real, and I just want to say to North Abaco, to Abaco on the whole, help is coming. That might not soothe or comfort you at this moment, but it is coming. And I totally understand your need. I totally understand your desperation. If there was something that could have been done instantly, the heart that our leader, Brave Davis, has, it would have been done. What is being done, though, it will be correct, it will be lawful, and it will definitely assist in getting everyone the help that they need.
The Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Chester Cooper, spearheading a fact-finding mission on Grand Bahama yesterday as it relates to the island's tourism product. A part of that delegation, Member of Parliament for Central and South Abaco and the Parliamentary Secretary for Tourism, Investments and Aviation, John Pinder II. Pinder telling our ZNS News team that he plans to encourage and support the rejuvenation of the island of Abaco.
We were hit hard by Dorian. The keys in certain areas have come back quite nicely. We're not 100% yet, but we are on our way back to full capacity. I would like to expand and spread the tourism product through Abaco itself, particularly down south and up north. I believe we have a lot more to offer than what has been offered in the past, and we need to start diversifying our tourism product. There is a lot of work to have still. Abaco and Grand Bahama, Dorian really set us back, and I plan to take a special effort into the tourism industry, the economic engine of this country, and assist the DPM, Minister for such, as much as I can.
In news from the court, 40-year-old Errol Miller, a.k.a. Yellow, had his day in court on Thursday, appearing before Magistrate Simone Brown on 2 counts of housebreaking and stealing, 1 count of assault with a deadly instrument, 2 counts of stealing, and 1 count of causing damage. He pleaded not guilty to all charges and was granted bail in the amount of $7,000 with 8 shorters. He will be outfitted with an ankle bracelet and will have to report to Central Police Station every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday before 6 p.m. Now, if bail is not met, Miller will be remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. The case has now been adjourned to November 11th. Meantime, the Drug Enforcement Unit locating a large sum of U.S. currency. Police tell us that officers acting on a tip searched a male passenger at the Grand Bahama International Airport who had just arrived on board a private aircraft from the island of Bimini. The search uncovered more than $87,000 in U.S. currency. Police say he couldn't give a satisfactory reason for the funds. He was arrested for possession of suspected proceeds of crime. He's assisting police with the investigation. Also from police, a U.S. citizen was arrested over on the island of Bimini in connection with a stolen vessel. Shortly after 11 a.m. yesterday, customs officers reported that while at Brown's Marina in Alistown, it was discovered that a vessel registration number FL7024PK, which did not undergo the necessary reporting requirements upon entering the Bahamas. Initial investigations revealed that a 2012 blue and white 37-foot Boston whaler vessel with 3 onboard engines was attached and parked at the marina. An American adult male identified himself as the captain when questioned by officers, but he could not give a satisfactory account as to how he came to be in possession of that vessel. The male was arrested, and he is also assisting police with their investigations. A young girl is missing tonight, and the police need your help in locating her. 15-year-old Maria Culmer of Malibu Drive was last seen on September 21st, and at the time she was wearing a red shirt and short blue jeans pants. She is of brown complexion, slim built with brown eyes. Now, if you see Maria Culmer or if you know her whereabouts, you are asked to contact the Central Investigations Department. That number, 350-3109-911, or the nearest police station. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
Down now. Treat large and small generators, propane and butane stoves, LED flashlights, fuel canisters, coolers, batteries, gas and electric chainsaws, cooking supplies, tarps, matches, duct tape, and more.
Transparency, honesty,
and accountability are what you deserve.
You deserve a smarter grid.
With meters that show you where your energy is going.
A modernized grid that share all the data and allow us to proactively address the issues. A resilient grid that notifies us the instant your service is disrupted. You deserve the highest standard of service.
With a smarter grid and modern infrastructure.
This is why advanced metering infrastructure
is here.
The Ministry of Health is working to ensure the safety of the Bahamian people. Help us minimize the risk that coronavirus poses to citizens, residents, and visitors by following these 5 easy steps. Step 1. Wet your hands with clean water, apply soap and lather for 20 seconds by rubbing them together. Include the top of your hands between your fingers and under your fingernails. Rinse your hands under clean water, then dry them with a paper towel or air dry them. Remember to wash your hands before and after eating, preparing a meal, changing a diaper, or caring for the sick, and always after using the bathroom, touching money, shaking hands, or taking out the trash. Step 2. Cough and sneeze in your elbow or upper sleeve, not in your hands, not in the air. Or you can cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Put your used tissue in the trash bin when you're finished. Remember to wash your hands with soap and clean water after you cough or sneeze. Also, remember never to spit on the ground, roads, or in open spaces. Step 3. Ensure that raw meat is properly handled and cooked thoroughly. Step 4. Avoid sharing drinking glasses, eating utensils like spoons and forks, or sharing personal items such as toothbrushes and towels. Germs can live on surfaces we touch, so wipe and disinfect surfaces where germs can live, and keep your surroundings clean. Step 5. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. Should you or anyone you know feel that you have been exposed to the coronavirus, contact the surveillance unit of the Ministry of Health immediately. To reach us, call 502-4776, 502-4790 or 502-4737. We want Bahamians and those that live with and visit us to remain safe from the coronavirus. To do this, we need the help of each and every one of you to follow the simple steps we have shared. Let's stay safe, Bahamas.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your number one news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. The West Grand Bahama Youth Development Association is celebrating 29 years as an organization this month. Co-founder Fred Delancey says this year there are plans to educate the community on the work they've done over the years and about the way forward.
Now, initially, we attracted young people through sports, basketball, volleyball, softball, baseball, and then we formed community and church leagues in these sporting disciplines, from West End to Hunters, and eventually introduced numerous spiritual, cultural, leadership, social, and community service programs for young people and residents generally. But after a few years, you can imagine the work was too much to sustain. So we actually selected 17 young people to be trained as youth leaders. And they became certified under programs through the Barbados government.
Delancey says this year, due to the pandemic, they're celebrating on a much smaller scale. However, they will have their annual church service to commemorate the milestone.
We're limiting our activities. Mostly we're going to do some educational stuff like the church service, and we're producing an exhibition of our work and so forth and so on. So we're limiting our involvement with activities this time around and so forth. But we're waiting till things change, and I guess we'll get back to doing the things we always do. The church service will be held on Sunday, October 3rd, 11 a.m. at Mount Zion Baptist Church in 8 Mile Rock.
For the past 6 months, Availing Prayer Ministries has been gathering on the Independence Park to pray for this northern island. And this coming Sunday, beginning at 2 p.m., they will gather once again for a prayer motorcade in recognition of those who are ill from COVID-19. Our Abaco Knowles has more in this report.
Minister Shelley Shepherd says at the end of every month, they would gather on the Independence Park for prayer. But this time around, they are doing things a little different.
We're going to go to the sports complex for 2 o'clock. We're going to drive on Coral Road around the circle, and we're going to meet here. We're going to line up here in the front of the Cancer Society building where they house COVID patients. Now, the critical ones are not here, but this is the first stop, and we're going to be here canceling untimely death, pneumonia. We're going to be destroying it with the Word of God.
Following their stop at the Cancer Association, she says they will then drive by the critical care unit at the Rand Memorial Hospital.
And we'll be executing the same thing there. And then we're going to meet at the park for 5 o'clock for our regular prayer.
Additionally, she says they will target 3 specific areas.
1, healing for marriages, for men and women that have gone through infidelity. Restoration for those that can be restored. And then empowerment and salvation for the mates. And then we're going to be praying for our young men. We noticed we had about 5 murders in the Bahamas with young men within the past 2 weeks. And so there needs to be a cry, a war cry.
Shepherd says they are calling on all intercessors to join them on the motorcade.
We have to believe what God says. We have to put in action what God says. When the righteous cry it out, he will hear their cry and he will deliver. God is faithful. We just need to be faithful.
And if you are interested in sowing into the ministry, she says you are welcome to do so. Abaco Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Well, she has opened concerts for international names like Vashawn Mitchell, Kenton Jones, and Nigel Lewis. Has made history when she won the Best Female Vocalist Award at the Marlin Awards, and now she can add a prestigious international award to her list of accomplishments. Vanessa Divine Lady Clark was recently honored as an international trailblazer in the United States. Presenting the award was Milton Wallace from Dreams Come True.
And today I have the honor of presenting the Praise Factors International Trailblazer Award. Now, this award is presented to an individual outside the United States that's trailblazing and setting above and beyond standards in spite of those extreme challenges that they're facing from extenuating circumstances. In seasons to come, the namesake of this award will be in honor of this year's honoree. Help me to congratulate and appreciate this year's recipient, Vanessa Clark.
Clark is currently battling a neurological disorder and received the prestigious award before her health further declined. In an at-home video, she shared what it means to be the first Bahamian gospel artist to receive such recognition.
When I first became ill and found out that there was no cure, the thing that was most important to me became even more important, and that was my ministry and the mandate that God has for my life. I've been in music ministry for the past 30 years, and I've never been fueled by awards. But from I was a little girl, I have always loved the Lord. I was very shy. And never in my wildest dreams did I think He would use me as a psalmist, a songwriter, a journalist, radio personality, an author. This was not my dream, but it was the path He carved out for my life.
Now, Clark also thanked the Praise Factor Award team for recognizing her music on an international platform, as well as her family and friends who continue to support her during this time. And of course, we say a special congratulations to Vanessa Divine Lady Clark, and that's coming from all of us here at ZNS Northern Service. Well, that is going to do it for news. Here's a check on what's happening in sports on this Friday with RJ Philippe.
Easton finds Strong, first down. Strong crosses the 50-yard line, needed 10 and picked up 15. First down.
Good evening, I'm Jay Philippe and welcome to Sports. It's Friday, which means jam-packed weekend in sports. Let's jump right into it.
Michael Strawn and his Indianapolis Colts is expected to take on the Miami Dolphins this Sunday at the Hard Rock Stadium. The Colts still 0-3 on the season, looking for their first win of the season, while the Dolphins just 1-2 on the season, looking to be at 500 to start the year. Now, Michael Strawn is expected to have a large contingency of Bahamians supporting him this weekend at the Hard Rock Stadium. Now, in the WNBA, Jonquel Jones and her Connecticut Sun tie in the series of the semifinals in the WNBA playoffs best-of-5 series. The Sun was able to pull away last night in a close one, 79-68. Now, Jones struggled in that loss, just scoring 4 points, but nevertheless, the series is tied at 1 game apiece. Game 3 will be on Sunday. Now, in tennis, Team Bahamas advances to the ITF Team 2018 finals in Mexico. The Bahamas achieved a second placement with a 4-1 record in tournament play. The team closed out with a dominant performance over the U.S. Virgin Islands in singles. Both Tatiana Madu from Grand Bahama, playing in the #1 spot, and Kayla Fox, playing in the #2 spot, had shutout wins 6-0, 6-0 over their opponents, Safaya and Amnad Prasad. In doubles, the team of Brianna Hallgrove and Kayla Fox won in straight sets 6-0 and 6-1.
That's a quick check on sports. I'm Jay Philippe. Have a great weekend.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear hard hats, steel-toe boots, and climbing belts. They don't prowl the streets at night looking for the bad boys. They're the good guys, saving us during our darkest hours, putting their lives on the line every day to make ours brighter. They're the ones you call because you know they'll be there every time. It's not easy being a hero. Sometimes they're painted as the villain. But if there's one thing all heroes have in common, is that they don't give up. They're always fair, focused on helping those in need. Because for those heroes, it's more than a job, it's a duty. Some people try to be heroes, others just are. At Grand Bahama Power Company, we are proud to know a few heroes, always there for you.
Are you tired, overweight, having trouble sticking to your health and fitness goals? Well, look no further. The Fitness Connection has teamed up with ZNS to bring you Health Bites. This and every Thursday, tune in, and we'll make sure you get on track and stay on track with your health and fitness goals. Tune in.
When a hurricane watch or warning is issued, medical emergency services are placed on high alert. For many persons seeking medical care, defining what an emergency is can be difficult to assess given all that is occurring during the storm. The following basic guidelines are designed to help you assess your emergency. If you are experiencing symptoms like shortness of breath, chest pain, severe pain, disorientation, extreme vomiting or diarrhea, vision disturbance, or suicidal thoughts, you should seek immediate medical assistance. If you are bleeding significantly or otherwise severely injured, seek emergency assistance immediately. Children presenting with symptoms like high fever and extremely listless or lethargic behavior need to be taken to the emergency room immediately. If you are unsure of the extent of your condition, you are advised to seek medical assistance immediately. Share your symptoms with the on-call doctor and get advice as to whether or not it can wait until normal business hours. Remember, emergency care is not a convenient option for basic medical care during a storm. The Public Hospitals Authority encourages members of the public to use these basic guidelines to help decide on whether something is an emergency or not. The authority reminds the public that in the case of an emergency, always call 911 or head immediately to the emergency room. This message has been brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority and the National Emergency Management Agency.
The King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Carlene Musgrove, you are our Facebook friend of the day. We say thank you for your support. And that's going to do it for us here in the North on this Friday evening. We thank you so much for tuning in. On behalf of our entire ZNS News team, I'm Shashina Wolf-Arkeson. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, tightened operations in the face of unprecedented levels of Haitian migration. Efforts to jumpstart the main industry, once COVID-free family islands face new infections, and a tragic end to the workday for one young man. Those stories and more when the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, returns.
Large beach and pool parties are not ideal in this COVID environment, but keeping just a few friends close while in the water is actually a good idea. So here's another pointer. They say the more the merrier, and when you're planning on spending a day of fun in the water, that might be what you want to do. Swimming with someone else, especially when doing aquatic activities, is a standard safety practice. If you're by yourself and there's an emergency, having someone to call for help or assist is much better than struggling alone.
Swimming with a buddy, not swimming alone, allowing you to have the ability to have somebody with you if you get into trouble. It's nice to be able to go in a social environment with a buddy and be able to talk and enjoy the environment.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Digital Media.
This portion of the news is brought to you by BTC Superfast Internet for Less. Best rate, no debate. Sign up today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lapinder. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks so much for tuning in. A government delegation on the ground in Inagua today to view for themselves the arduous task of repatriating the hundreds of Haitians apprehended over the past week. A joint statement today from the Ministers of National Security and Labor and Immigration, making it clear that the government's #1 priority is to defend the country's territorial sovereignty while ensuring that the Bahamian people are protected. And to this end, no resources will be spared as all involved agencies work towards addressing this ongoing situation. Lloyd Allen reports tonight from Matthew Town, Inagua.
ZNS News arrived here at the Inagua International Airport, where 131 migrants are being prepared to board this Bahamas Air flight for Haiti. The Honorable Wayne Munro is giving an address and giving an update on this matter.
We must applaud the efforts of the judiciary in this regard. The Chief Magistrate and her colleague, Stipendary and Circuit Magistrate Shaka Seville, who came down to try in expeditious time these persons. We want to express in strongest possible terms to the citizens of Haiti that the journey by boat to the Bahamas is a dangerous one, and we have deployed our assets and resources to prevent entry into our territorial waters.
According to Captain Glenn McPhee, the Royal Bahamas Defense Forces commanding officer for the Southern Command, hundreds of migrants have been apprehended in a recent operation branded Blue Thumb.
Blue Thumb is our maritime blockade strategy that was implemented on several layers. First layer, the southern borders. Then the second layer, the central Bahamas, to ensure that if by any chance something slips through the first layer, we're able to capture them during the second layer. To date, we have interdicted or apprehended in excess of 1,000 irregular or illegal migrants.
Captain McPhee noting that this was all possible through a joint effort with their police and immigration colleagues, along with the United States Coast Guard, OPAT, and Cuban Border Patrol, who all recognized the trend with the vessels intercepted.
What we've seen is that these wooden sloops have been modified. Some of them have engines on board, some of them 2 engines on board. And so this is an extraordinary scenario that we're dealing with right now.
Minister of Immigration and Labor, the Honorable Keith Bell, added 4 flights departed Inagua for Cape Haitian Friday, with a minimum of 125 migrants aboard each flight.
We have treated the Haitian migrants humanely, and now we're here today to ensure that repatriation exercise commences, and you can see that it has started, and it will not stop until all of the illegal migrants are repatriated back to Haiti.
Officials say 2 locations were secured on the island to temporarily house the migrants, giving them time to complete processing promptly. And with the government's quick response to the matter, Inagua residents say they are satisfied with the apprehension effort.
For where I see it as a resident from here, he did a good job so far.
Well, I think they moved quite rapidly, but I understand that they were a little hold up on the Haitian government part, but I think they did a well job.
Normally we only have probably like 1 or 2 Haitians here, Haitian nationals here in Inagua, so I think they're doing the best of their ability.
Similar flights will continue over the next few days to officially complete the repatriation exercise. Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Now, in related news, Haitian leaders yesterday got the opportunity to share with the Minister of Immigration some of their concerns about the recent influx in Haitian migrants.
I still plan to go back home. But when I see the situation in my country, I feel empty. So I thank God for the government of the Bahamas for the way that you all guys treat the Haitian people in this country.
Haiti is a rich country, but we have bad government. You know, every 5 years there's supposed to election, but you know what happened, and they kill our president. You know, they cause many Haitian, you know, living in Bahamas to go to seek better life.
Each of you, the payment, the immigration, each payment to continue support Haitian. Sometimes we cannot do anything, only God could do something.
Pastor Canal Marcelian is optimistic for change.
Everybody see what's happening, and Inagua make us very sad, very bad. You know, that's why I think we promise the Haitian government to keep work with Haitian community to see how we could do best we could do to find the solution, to see how our pastor could work, send the message, let them know, you know, but the same way everyone said, Haiti as a rich country. But the problem is Haitians need to do best they could do to try to manage good.
Also making national news tonight, a major investment in the country's tourism product moves one step closer to opening. The Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investments anticipates it will further add to the appeal the Bahamas and Paradise Island has to offer visitors. Cleopatra Murphy has more.
Steady progress is being made on the $250 million Sterling Hurricane Hole project as investors march toward the Phase 1 opening of Sterling Commons set for January. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investments, the Honorable Chester Cooper, toured the facility that will boast retail, office and residential spaces. Impressed with the project, he assured investors the Bahamas is open for business.
This is the type of spark that we need to see even more and more in our country. I want to assure the investment community, the business community, that our new government is very business friendly, very investment focused, and we recognize to build and grow our country, we need projects like this one.
The development will also include a clinic, pharmacy, supermarket, and 2 restaurants once completed. President of Sterling Global Advisory, Kalis Roll, says during construction, an average of 150 people have been employed on the site. Sterling itself will employ an additional 70 people full-time, while the retailers are expected to provide additional employment. As for sales for the property, he says that has been robust.
We are 92% leased on the retail and almost completely leased with the office, and we're completely sold out on the residential. So the first phase residential consists of 1 and 2 bedrooms, marina view units, and it's 6 in each building, a total of 12, and we're completely sold out with those units.
The Deputy Prime Minister says it is noteworthy that while nearly everything came to a standstill due to the COVID-19 pandemic, work at the Hurricane Hole continued. He says the benefits of the property extend beyond the employment it will provide, but also to the economic spin-off and enhancement of the overall tourism product.
God has been very kind to us. We have the magnificent beauty of our harbor, and they have been able to leverage that and to create a development like this. This is a model, I believe, that we can show to the world, and the investment community and developers around the world would look at this as a very world-class development, and certainly will see these types of opportunities across the country.
The master plan for the multi-phased Hurricane Hold project was unveiled in 2018. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, central bank preliminary evidence suggesting that during the second quarter, tourism recorded a slow recovery. This as total visitor arrivals strengthened to 297,759 after falling by 99.8% to just 3,998 a year earlier when international border closures were fully implemented. A look at the high value added air component saw a significant jump to 254,000+ from just 1,736 passengers the year prior. Similarly, sea passengers bounced back from 43,097 from 2,262 over the same period. If we were to take a look at major ports of entry, tourist arrivals to New Providence rebounded to 180,240 from just 1,095 last year, as air and sea passengers totaled 176,378 and 3,862 respectively. Likewise, visitors to the Family Islands moved higher to 103,304 from just 2,359. Grand Bahama also reporting impressive numbers, attracting 14,215 tourists compared to 544 the year prior. Well, after 6 years of hard work, the Bahamas is getting set to show off its pavilion at what's dubbed the greatest show on earth, Expo 2020, a global showcase that will, for the first time, be held in Middle East. The Bahamas Pavilion, aimed at promoting and focusing on the resilience of an island nation, consists of a 7,500 square foot, two-story rectangular-shaped building with a facade featuring images of Junkanoo. The first floor exhibit promotes business investments in green, blue, and orange economies, focusing on tourism, financial services, real estate, and natural resources. The ground floor features locally made items to be sold as souvenirs. Still ahead, COVID-19 cases, a gang on the upclimb, and a senior clergyman laid to rest. Those stories and more when we return. And remember to tune in to the morning edition with LaDawn Davis and Charles Fisher at 7 o'clock weekday mornings. We also have news updates at every hour starting at 2 p.m. You can then watch the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, at 6:30, and the National Report live at 7 p.m. All right here on the ZNS Network.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Welcome to a world where hope is still loud, where dreams are still relevant, and determination has no substitute. Welcome to a nation where the people are still warm, resilient, and innovative. And Commonwealth Bank is at the center of it all, giving innovation and progress an extra push for more than 60 years. We're here for Bahamians because we are Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, your leader in personal banking services.
Across the Bahamas, we're more connected than ever before as we upgrade and expand our network, elevating your connection with BTC Superfast Fiber Internet. More people can access the best high-speed internet on our upgraded all-fiber optic network, providing you with a better experience working remotely, learning virtually, accessing more from home, and connecting with more opportunities. Visit our website or any store to upgrade to our super-fast fiber internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
KFC Saucy Wings gives you the choice. A precisely calculated chicken-to-sauce ratio for that perfect wing experience. Or a totally wild, completely coated sauce adventure that transcends traditional flavor boundaries. Whatever your choice, get sauced with KFC Saucy Wings for the perfect amount of flavor. Saucy Wings at KFC Nassau. So good.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Another change to the emergency order, this one in favor of the construction industry and retail businesses. They've been given the go-ahead to operate on Sunday. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis reasons that they're seeking to eliminate inconsistencies found in the orders that do not make economic sense while aiming to stimulate positive economic movement. As, quote, these portions of the orders are no longer grounded in science, end quote. Now, while retail businesses like water depots, beauty salons, and cinemas will no longer face the previous restrictions, they will have to comply with the current public health measures. Prime Minister Davis reminded that cruise passengers must be vaccinated in order to enter the country, as this greatly reduces the risk of the spread of COVID-19 among businesses catering to such visitors. Local COVID cases back in the triple digits with another 2 deaths on record, both of them previously under investigation. The victims, 2 female residents of Grand Bahama, ages 31 and 56, who died on September 16th and September 19th, respectively. The death toll now at 533, with still another 41 deaths to be probed. As for the uptick in cases, 74 women and 56 men make up the 130 new infections. 89 of them on New Providence, 11 on Mayaguana, 9 on Long Island, 6 each on Eleuthera and Inagua, 5 on Grand Bahama, 2 on Abaco, and 1 each on Cat Island and Crooked Island. Now, while hospitalizations dipped by 1 to 145 overnight, the number of people on the intensive care unit jumped by 2 to 19. Some 623 tests were completed on September 29th, 15 of them repeats. Now, regardless of how high or low COVID-19 infections and deaths, the Princess Margaret Hospital continues to bear the brunt of the pandemic. We got this update to date from Hospital Administrator Mary Walker.
Our greatest need is staff. Our staff are tired. Our staff are exhausted. That's the greatest thing, and we see it. And we try to support them as best we can, both from a physical standpoint and a psychological standpoint, because we know they need that as well. But the soldiers are tired.
Walker joins the chorus of healthcare professionals stressing that vaccinations ensure a healthy workforce. She admits, though, a major concern was the anticipated pushback following the relaxation in restrictions.
You would be aware that we did get additional capacity, and we're seeming to manage what we're doing over there, notwithstanding the fact that the staff complement still has not improved there. And we really need to get more what we would call mortuary attendants to help us there, and so we'll be continuing to look for persons who can manage that type of work. But the persons over there are working diligently. They're making sure that they can assist all of the funeral homes and morticians as best they can. And of course, where there is a delay with families making the arrangements, we're that alternative, and that's just it.
Now, with COVID-19 still wreaking havoc, claiming lives across the globe, the Pan American Health Organization is calling for a more aggressive response from the global community. Here's Cleopatra Murphy.
Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, says the North Americas continue to record the highest number of new COVID-19 infections, with nearly 1.5 million recorded within the last week. Deaths also continue to increase, with more than 26,000 recorded. In the region, more than 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered, with 35% of the population in Latin America and the Caribbean fully vaccinated. But Etienne says the fact is there continues to be unequal access to vaccines, and she's appealing to wealthier countries to donate more.
While Canada, Chile, Uruguay, and Puerto Rico have fully vaccinated over 70% of their populations, 10 countries and territories in our region have yet to reach 20% of their populations. And in Haiti, fewer than 1% of people have been protected thus far.
Etienne, speaking at PAHO's weekly press conference, says she is encouraged that world leaders pledged an additional 850 million COVID-19 vaccine doses, and U.S. President Joe Biden announced the country would donate another 500 million vaccines to lower and middle-income countries. Still, she says defeating COVID-19 is dependent on having the tools to prevent, detect, and treat the virus, with the expansion of global vaccine production.
PAHO has helped COVAX deliver 50 million doses to our region, including nearly 14 million donated doses. And we have the capacity to quickly scale this support. So we urge countries not to delay their donations as lives hang in the balance today.
The PAHO director says along with governments, the private sector has a role in the COVID-19 fight and sees it as a key partner, highlighting the partnership with government and Doctors Hospital to make COVID-19 beds available.
For example, in the Bahamas, a private-public partnership contributed to increase bed capacity for COVID-19 patients. It adapted and redefined a model of care to respond to the evolution of the pandemic, protecting communities of the family islands, including transfer of patients and provision of necessary supplies.
The PAHO director announced that PAHO has reached an agreement with Chinese vaccine maker Sinovac and other vaccine makers to purchase COVID-19 vaccines on behalf of other countries. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, members of the National COVID-19 Vaccination Campaign say vaccinations have significantly increased over the past week. Our Crystal Darling explores why more people are deciding to get the jab in this next report.
We're averaging right now about 750 to 780 people a day coming in to get their vaccines.
Months into COVID vaccinations, and an increasing number of people are still turning out to get the shot. The latest numbers reflecting over 119,000 having received at least one dose, a jump from the previous week's 114,000. This translates into roughly 30% of the population being vaccinated. Here's what facility managers stationed at various vaccination centers shared with us.
Well, I had one yesterday that unfortunately had lost a family of 6, and I think that was a huge eye-opener, and so that's why she was coming in and bringing her parents and everything in to get vaccinated. We also feel that now that Biden has made the announcement about the travel restrictions, people are now realizing if they want to travel, they're going to have to be vaccinated.
A good number of our patients today have told us that that was the case. But for whatever reason, though, we're really happy to see people coming out.
This week has been one of our busiest weeks since we started. A lot of that is due to those who got Pfizer a few weeks ago getting their second doses, working on mandating you have to be fully vaccinated in order to get on a plane to go to the United States. That's also starting to make some people realize that the future is get vaccinated, because that's the only answer to getting our lives back to where they need to be.
And COVID-19 vaccination was also one of the main points in Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis's presentation at the United Nations General Assembly over the weekend. The Bahamas has received a steady flow of vaccinations from abroad. Just last week, the U.S. government donated 1,390 doses of both the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Still, during his address to the United Nations General Assembly, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis stressed the need for a lot more to cater to the Bahamas' population of nearly 400,000.
Our demand for vaccines has significantly outstripped supply. Along with vaccines, it is important that safe treatments and therapeutics are made accessible and designated as public goods. When vaccines are deployed to reduce transmission, everyone is made safer. This virus is global and requires a global response.
Meantime, here's why several people opted to finally give in and get the jab.
Right, well, I'm a photographer and videographer, so a lot of the stuff that I need, equipment-wise, it's in the States. So, you know, one way or the other, I'd have to go over there.
Because I'm working in the healthcare field, I just feel like now it's a need. There's too many people dying out here. And the hospital's too full, they can't accept any more people. So
we recently actually got out of quarantine, so we're going to make that step and we're going to get vaccinated just to keep our family safe and to keep ourselves safe.
My mom passed away from COVID last year, so did my aunt. So I said, you know, this is scary. I'll just go and take my shot. This variant is very strong, and I have 4 children to live for.
And in the case of those of you still on the fence,
I do see some people that are apprehensive, but I would say that at the end of the process, what we see is relief. People are relieved and very happy and that they've had it done.
It's for the general good of everybody, your family, your friends, your loved ones. We have to do it.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Digital Media.
Friday off to another bloody start for homicide detectives here in the capital after a 21-year-old man is gunned down at a Robinson Road business early this morning.
On the arrival of our first responders, they met a male just in front of the business establishment door, unresponsive. On examining the body, they found multiple wounds that appeared to be gunshots. Emergency medical services was summoned, and after their examination of the male's body, it was pronounced lifeless.
Police making the all too familiar appeal to anyone with information to call them as soon as possible.
This male is an employee of that business establishment, and as he was entering his workplace this morning, he was approached by a lone gunman who shot him several times about the body. We do not have an idea as to who this suspect is, so we're appealing to members of the public who may have any information as to what occurred here this morning to kindly assist us with that information so that we can make good headway with our investigations. Witnesses are saying the suspect fled in a sudden direction, which would be directly in the back of this business establishment.
Defense Force Commodore Dr. Raymond King making it known to the public that he didn't consent or agree to his name or image being used in a video that went viral. A local restaurant and bar proprietor's anniversary advertisement and promotion aired on the weekend included the Defense Force Commodore as one of the individuals patronizing the event. The Defense Force maintains the advertisement was done without Commodore King's consent or knowledge, possibly with the intent to build clientele. Organizational members are encouraged to refrain from using the Commodore's name or image in any advertisement without his consent or knowledge. Further, he thanked the officers and Marines who continue to perform their duties with par excellence.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Tourism today. Bahamas tourism today.
The Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation extends a warm welcome to the new Parliamentary Secretary, John Pinder. Tourism Today spoke with the new PS about his plans here at the ministry.
I 100% want to diversify our tourism product. I believe ecotourism, medical tourism, let's start looking beyond what we historically have provided and give more of a product to our foreign visitors.
The Parliamentary Secretary also shared his hope for the rejuvenation of the Abaco's tourism sector, hoping to expand the island's tourism product throughout the island and Keys.
I plan to encourage and help support the rejuvenation of tourism in Abaco. I know we were hit hard by Dorian. The Keys in certain areas have come back quite nicely. We're not 100% yet, but we are on our way back to full capacity. I would like to expand and spread the tourism product through Abaco itself, particularly down south and up north. I believe we have a lot more to offer than what has been offered in the past, so we need to start diversifying our tourism product.
Tourism Today is excited to welcome the new Parliamentary Secretary, John Pinder, and we look forward to working together in the future to build a better ministry. I'm Joshua Robbins, and this is Tourism Today.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A friend that you can trust. Family Guardian.
Life is better with Rubis Rewards. Just fuel up and swipe for your chance to win free fuel, cash back in our stores, restaurant and store discounts from our partners, plus prizes and surprises. It doesn't get better than this. Your Rubis Reward tag is free at every Rubis service station in New Providence. Get yours today. Rubis, it's just better.
portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Another change to the emergency order, this one in favor of the construction industry and retail businesses. They've been given the go-ahead to operate on Sunday. Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, reasons that they're seeking to eliminate inconsistencies found in the orders that do not make economic sense while aiming to stimulate positive economic movement. As, quote, these portions of the orders are no longer grounded in science, end quote. Now, while retail businesses like water depots, beauty salons, and cinemas will no longer face the previous restrictions, they will have to comply with the current public health measures. Prime Minister Davis reminded that cruise passengers must be vaccinated in order to enter the country, as this greatly reduces the risk of the spread of COVID-19 among businesses catering to such visitors. Local COVID cases back in the triple digits with another 2 deaths on record, both of them previously under investigation. The victims, 2 female residents of Grand Bahama, ages 31 and 56, who died on September 16th and September 19th, respectively. The death toll now at 533, with still another 41 deaths to be probed. As for the uptick in cases, 74 women and 56 men make up the 130 new infections. 89 of them on New Providence, 11 on Mayaguana, 9 on Long Island, 6 each on Eleuthera and Inagua, 5 on Grand Bahama, 2 on Abaco, and 1 each on Cat Island and Crooked Island. Now, while hospitalizations dipped by 1 to 145 overnight, the number of people on the intensive care unit jumped by 2 to 19. Some 623 tests were completed on September 29th, 15 of them repeats. Now, regardless of how high or low COVID-19 infections and deaths, the Princess Margaret Hospital continues to bear the brunt of the pandemic. We got this update to date from Hospital Administrator Mary Walker.
Our greatest need is staff. Our staff are tired. Our staff are exhausted. That's the greatest thing, and we see it. And we try to support them as best we can, both from a physical standpoint and a psychological standpoint, because we know they need that as well. But the soldiers are tired.
Walker joins the chorus of healthcare professionals stressing that vaccinations ensure a healthy workforce. She admits, though, a major concern was the anticipated pushback following the relaxation in restrictions.
You would be aware that we did get additional capacity, and we're seeming to manage what we're doing over there, notwithstanding the fact that the staff complement still has not improved there. And we really need to get more what we would call mortuary attendants to help us there, and so we'll be continuing to look for persons who can manage that type of work. But the persons over there are working diligently. They're making sure that they can assist all of the funeral homes and morticians as best they can. And of course, where there is a delay with families making the arrangements, we're that alternative, and that's just it.
Now, with COVID-19 still wreaking havoc, claiming lives across the globe, the Pan American Health Organization is calling for a more aggressive response from the global community. Here's Cleopatra Murphy.
Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, says the North Americas continue to record the highest number of new COVID-19 infections, with nearly 1.5 million recorded within the last week. Deaths also continue to increase, with more than 26,000 recorded. In the region, more than 1 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered, with 35% of the population in Latin America and the Caribbean fully vaccinated. But Etienne says the fact is there continues to be unequal access to vaccines, and she's appealing to wealthier countries to donate more.
While Canada, Chile, Uruguay, and Puerto Rico have fully vaccinated over 70% of their populations, 10 countries and territories in our region have yet to reach 20% of their populations. And in Haiti, fewer than 1% of people have been protected thus far.
Etienne, speaking at PAHO's weekly press conference, says she is encouraged that world leaders pledged an additional 850 million COVID-19 vaccine doses. And U.S. President Joe Biden announced the country would donate another 500 million vaccines to lower and middle-income countries. Still, she says defeating COVID-19 is dependent on having the tools to prevent, detect, and treat the virus with the expansion of global vaccine production.
PAHO has helped COVAX deliver 50 million doses to our region. including nearly 14 million donated doses. And we have the capacity to quickly scale this support. So we urge countries not to delay their donations as lives hang in the balance today.
The PAHO director says along with governments, the private sector has a role in the COVID-19 fight and sees it as a key partner, highlighting the partnership with government and Doctors Hospital to make COVID-19 beds available.
For example, in the Bahamas, a private-public partnership contributed to increase bed capacity for COVID-19 patients. It adapted and redefined a model of care to respond to the evolution of the pandemic, protecting communities of the family islands, including transfer of patients and provision of necessary supplies.
The PAHO director announced that PAHO has reached an agreement with Chinese vaccine maker Sinovac and other vaccine makers to purchase COVID-19 vaccines on behalf of other countries. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, members of the National COVID-19 Vaccination Campaign say vaccinations have significantly increased over the past week. Our Crystal Darling explores why more people are deciding to get the jab in this next report.
We're averaging right now about 750 to 780 people a day coming in to get their vaccines.
Months into COVID vaccinations, and an increasing number of people are still turning out to get the shot. The latest numbers reflecting over 119,000 having received at least one dose, a jump from the previous week's 114,000. This translates into roughly 30% of the population being vaccinated. Here's what facility managers stationed at various vaccination centers shared with us.
Well, I had one yesterday that unfortunately had lost a family of 6, and I think that was a huge eye-opener, and so that's why she was coming in and bringing her parents and everything in to get vaccinated. We also feel that now that Biden has made the announcement about the travel restrictions, people are now realizing if they want to travel, they're going to have to be vaccinated.
A good number of our patients today have told us that that was the case. But for whatever reason, though, we're really happy to see people coming out.
This week has been one of our busiest weeks since we started. A lot of that is due to those who got Pfizer a few weeks ago getting their second doses. Working on mandating you have to be fully vaccinated in order to get on a plane to go to the United States. That's also starting to make some people realize that the future is get vaccinated, because that's the only answer to getting our lives back to where they need to be.
And COVID-19 vaccination was also one of the main points in Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis's presentation at the United Nations General Assembly over the weekend. The Bahamas has received a steady flow of vaccinations from abroad. Just last week, the U.S. government donated 1,390 doses of both the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Still, during his address to the United Nations General Assembly, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis stressed the need for a lot more to cater to the Bahamas' population of nearly 400,000.
Our demand for vaccines has significantly outstripped supply. Along with vaccines, it is important that safe treatments and therapeutics are made accessible and designated as public goods. When vaccines are deployed to reduce transmission, everyone is made safer. This virus is global and requires a global response.
Meantime, here's why several people opted to finally give in and get the jab.
Right, well, I'm a photographer and videographer, so a lot of the stuff that I need, equipment-wise, it's in the States. So, one way or the other, I'd have to go over there.
Because I'm working in the healthcare field, I just feel like now it's a need. There's too many people dying out here. And the hospital's too full, they can't accept any more people. So
we recently actually got out of quarantine, so we're going to make that step and we're going to get vaccinated just to keep our family safe and to keep ourselves safe.
My mom passed away from COVID last year, so did my aunt. So I said, this is scary. I'll just go and take my shot. This variant is very strong, and I have 4 children to live for.
And in the case of those of you still on the fence,
You see some people that are apprehensive, but I would say that at the end of the process, what we see is relief. People are relieved and very happy that they've had it done.
It's for the general good of everybody, your family, your friends, your loved ones. You have to do it.
Crystal Darling, ZNS Digital Media.
Friday off to another bloody start for homicide detectives here in the capital after a 21-year-old man is gunned down at a Robinson Road business early this morning.
On the arrival of our first responders, they met a male just in front of the business establishment door, unresponsive. On examining the body, they found multiple wounds that appeared to be gunshots. Emergency medical services was summoned, and after their examination of the male's body, it was pronounced lifeless.
Police making the all too familiar appeal to anyone with information to call them as soon as possible.
This male is an employee of that business establishment, and as he was entering his workplace this morning, he was approached by a lone gunman who shot him several times about the body. We do not have an idea as to who this suspect is, so we're appealing to members of the public who may have any information as to what occurred here this morning to kindly assist us with that information so that we can make good headway with our investigations. Witnesses are saying the suspect fled in a sudden direction, which would be directly in the back of this business establishment.
A 3-hour celebration honoring the life and contributions of a man who poured nearly 4 decades of his life into the historic Bethel Baptist Church, ushering in a new quality of servitude. Carla Palmer reports tonight on the state-recognized funeral of Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart, who was today lauded for his heart for the people and love for the marginalized.
The late Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart lived a life of touching hearts and changing lives. And for this, he has left a legacy and an indelible impression on those who knew him best. His brothers in Christ, a plethora of local and international pastors and preachers, remembered him fondly at his homegoing service Friday, each describing him as a leader whose pastorship extended beyond the 4 walls of Bethel Baptist, a church he shepherded for almost 40 years.
Our food and clothing and distribution ministries, which expanded greatly under Dr. Stewart, brought out the Kemp Road DNA of Pastor Stewart. He had a heart for people and a great love for the marginalized.
Dr. Stewart was just not your ordinary run-of-the-mill leader. He would have quelled Mahatma Gandhi's problem with the Christians. For Pastor Stewart was not just a Christian in title, he lived Christianity. Pastor Stewart was the people's pastor.
Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart was not only multi-talented, but a young man who was a possessor of big dreams. Dreams that someone from Kemp Road was not supposed to embrace. Like his father and his mother, he was short in stature, but gigantic in his aspiration.
He didn't need a platform, didn't need a title to be a general. Not only was he a preacher par excellence, but he was one, as was said, that was able to not lose the Corbin touch. I find joy in the fact that his life was impactful, his work impeccable, his ministry influential, and his legacy is assured by the service and contribution of the many persons from so many walks of life that he has so powerfully touched during his lifetime.
He had the reputation of a man of wisdom, a man of great intellect and humility, a man who had the favor of God all over his life, one who was indwelt and led by the Holy Spirit, who became a spiritual giant.
Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, also remembered the invaluable contributions the late Reverend Stewart made to national development.
Dr. Stewart invested his God-given talents, and the intangible dividends were both innumerable and invaluable. He fed the poor, clothed the naked, ministered to and interceded on behalf of the sick and shut-in, protected the vulnerable and the widow, and comforted the brokenhearted. Take comfort in God's promises to those servants like Dr. Stewart, who did not become weary or fainted, but endured unto the end.
Ninth President of the Progressive National Baptist Convention, Reverend Dr. Ralph Canty, performed the eulogy. The longest-serving pastor of Bethel Baptist Church, the late Reverend Dr. Timothy Stewart, was interred on the church's grounds. Carla Palmer, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
When you want to save money on your tile supplies, who you gonna call? The Tile King. When you tile your house and you want to look good, who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Visit the new Tile King showroom, which is internationally recognized as the finest tile showroom in the Caribbean, located in the Builders Mall on Wolf Road.
The Tile King. Who you gonna call? The Tile King.
Tiles on everything. Hey, yeah, I just reached. I asked them now because they close in like 5 minutes. Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry. Hi. I heard y'all added more things to pay, like government fees or something.
Yes, sir. We're now accepting payments for Department of Immigration, Department of Labor, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
Okay, good. I come to pay a police record and a labor certificate.
Okay, no problem. What's the name?
Uncle Boogaloo.
What's the first name?
Uncle.
And the last?
Boogaloo. You in the system.
Are you paying by cash, sir?
Coins.
Pardon?
Oh, and you could put a couple of them coins on my BPL bill. They just cut me off last night. I don't know what happened. No. Hey, Uncle, you straight. Okay. Yeah, don't forget my horse fish now.
Pay your government fees today at Cash and Go.
Open Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with double stamps on Sundays at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Devon corned beef, 12 ounce, $2.49. Par Excellence long grain rice, 5 pound, $3.49. Del Monte cut green beans, 15 ounce, 99 cents. Boneless chicken breast, $2.89 per pound. Fresh tomatoes, $1.79 per pound. Take these groceries home in Super Value tote bags, 2 for $3.
Chinese ambassador to the Bahamas, Her Excellency Dai Qingling, recently hosted a reception celebrating the 72nd anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. Governor General, His Excellency the Most Honorable Sir Cornelius Smith, and Foreign Affairs Minister the Honorable Fred Mitchell were among the distinguished guests, along with senior government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, representatives of the local Chinese community and Chinese enterprises in the Bahamas, and Bahamian friends who participated in person and virtually. Following the event, Ambassador Dai invited Minister Mitchell to a brief first encounter to discuss donations to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, other offers of technical cooperation, and the continuation of good relations in the multilateral arena. Family Guardian Insurance Company stepping in to help 2 organizations that have endured financial peril due to the pandemic. The company donated 100 care packages to the Cancer Society of the Bahamas that will be distributed to Family Island patients housed at its East Terrace Centerville headquarters. Family Guardian's Family Island District Manager, Tamika Pyfram.
You know that when patients, they're traveling from Family Island, so they're away from home. So these care packages is just to give them a sense of love and let them feel welcome while they're staying here during their treatment.
Thanking Family Guardian for the gesture, Cancer and Caring Society of the Bahamas Director Laverne Walgoose admits it's been a rough year for the organization, which has had to resort to staging a virtual gala to raise much-needed funds.
Very important for the corporate sponsors supporting the Cancer Society and the Caring Center, because during the pandemic we couldn't have our fundraising events. and we depend on fundraising events and sponsors from the public. And so whatever helps come in right now, we appreciate it. This year we had our first virtual ball, so I was able to hold that, and we did pretty well with that. We're looking forward to do some other stuff for October, hoping to pull that off to raise funds.
Well, it's taken some time to accomplish, but a group of Bahamians living in Texas recently formalized the Bahamas Association of Texas as an official nonprofit organization. Here's President Edward Monker.
I've been in Texas for about 20 years, and in that entire time, there hasn't been an organization, a Bahamian association active in the community. And it is perhaps the single most talked about subject when we get together for social events. We've also found out that after Dorian, through our volunteer efforts, when we were able to send 15,000 pounds of supplies just as a band of volunteers, that really inspired us and motivated us to think, well, if that was something that we can do at the spur of the moment, what can we do if we really put our minds, our hearts, and our wallets to a cause?
Monker joins 4 other Bahamians to comprise the board. He highlights some of their efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic.
We have Trinae Hampton as the secretary. We have Devante Scavella, who is a CPA. He's the treasurer. We have Jason Keary, who is a PhD cancer researcher. He's the director, one of the directors. And then we have Deidre Cooper Hicks, who's a paralegal. She's also a director. So we have folks with a vast array of experiences professionally and personally, and all coming under the umbrella of this association with a set of common goals and common core values in order to see how we can best service our community. Waiting very long. All through the pandemic, there have been a number of needs that, particularly with our Bahamian students studying abroad, that have come to our attention. And so, again, just through volunteer efforts, we've actually been able to help with rent or food assistance and other types of help.
Well, as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. There's more after the break.
We all seek and give power, like offering ourselves in general elections and exercising our right to vote for leaders. Our greatest power, though, is through the blessing of marriage and family, the anchor and bedrock of society, the undergirding force of our nation's economic, social development, and well-being. Join Nod Connections, Marriage, Children, Family Alliance Movement, MC Fam Renaissance Campaign, Embrace Education, Invest Time to Love, Nurture, Inspire, Strengthen Children, Family Relationships. It's Fam Power Time.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
You are a healthcare worker. Thank you for fighting on the front lines against COVID-19. It is normal to feel stressed when taking care of others who don't feel well. But remember to take care of yourself. Don't forget to rest between shifts, eat healthy meals, engage in physical activity, and stay connected to family and friends. Avoid harmful coping strategies like drinking alcohol. For managers of healthcare workers, the same tips apply to you. Here's how you can help. Consistently give updates. Rotate staff between high and low stress level functions. Encourage work breaks and ensure that they know where they can find help. We are here for you.
Members of the Bahamas Out Island Promotion Board forecasting strong recovery for the Family Island hotel sector. Executive Director Kerry Fountain is convinced the United States' decision to reopen will play a role in boosting room nights and room revenue for Family Island hoteliers.
The recovery that we have been experiencing, while the numbers have been positive, those numbers have been lifted basically by one country, and that's the United States. And so with the United States now reopening to Europe in particular, which accounts for about maybe 7% of our stopover business in the Bahamas, we anticipate that 85%, it can only go higher.
The organization also has plans to update one of its popular initiatives.
We offer a fly free from Nassau promotion. And so in addition now to not having to deal with the travel visa or pay for it, if you stay in one of my member hotels for 2 nights and you're flying from Nassau, you stay in one of my member hotels for 2 nights, we pay for 1 round-trip ticket. If you stay for 4 nights, we pay for both round-trip tickets. And all you have to do is just visit myoutislands.com in the special section, and we have all of the details there.
Well, it's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Makishla. Outside of our studios this evening, we are under partly sunny conditions. Temperature 85 degrees, the relative humidity at 66%. We have easterly winds at 15 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,015.0 millibars. That is 30.00 inches, and the pressure is steady. Temperatures around the outlets this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 83s in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Graintoul, Key, and Marsh Harbor, Abaco. The Berry Islands also 83. Allenstown, Bimini, 84 degrees, 83 in Harbor Island. Roxanne, Eleuthera, 84. Black Point, Exuma, Kemp, Space Out, Andros, and Freshwick and Central Andros, all at 83 degrees. Allenstown, Cat Island, San Salvador, Rum Key and Georgetown, Exuma reporting 85, 84 in Ragged Island, Clarence Sound, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Maguana, 85, 85 in Acklands, Matthew Tiny, Nago, 84, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 86 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Setter. In the Northwest and Central Islands tonight through Saturday, the winds are going to be northeast to east, 15 to 20 knots. We're going to have choppy seas at 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. In addition to that, you can expect some moderate northeasterly swells. Low tide 11:11 tonight, another low tide at 11:11 tomorrow morning. For the southeast Bahamas through Saturday, the winds are going to be easterly at 10 to 15 knots, and the wave fights 2 to 4 feet with moderate swells anticipated. And then on Sunday in the Northwest and Central Islands, the winds become easterly at 15 to 20 knots. No change in the wave heights, 4 to 7 feet, with those moderate swells continuing. High tide 5:35 in the morning, low tide at 12:04 in the afternoon. Now for the southeast Bahamas on Sunday, the winds start to back, becoming northeast ahead of an advancing tropical wave. Speeds 15 to 20 knots, and the wave heights 4 to 7 feet. Moderate waves continuing. And that's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
She texts me back. She says she ready for some of that. I say, what you talking about? You know.
And that's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, the extended weather forecast is still ahead.
Everything is changing, and your favorite hardware and home improvement store is getting with the program. We Buy You Sell is rolling out its new online shopping feature. If you go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, it's a quick and easy 3-step process. Step 1, browse the gallery and select your item. Step 2, add to cart. And Step 3, check out. Go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, to shop with us today.
That's why we got the...
We planned for where we are today. A strong company, a powerful network, built by the people, for the people, because we believed in best. because we lived for the moments. And we delivered. You know what we were. Now, you get to see who we are. We are alive.
You watch them grow and make plans for them even before they're old enough to talk. You spend a lifetime of sacrifice to pave the way for their success and create a tomorrow you too can be proud of. Can you tell who is the investor? At Leno, we believe everyone who has ever put a penny aside for a future dream is an investor. If you're new to investing, Leno's financial experts stand ready to design plans based on your goals. Let's sit down and explore the options one-on-one and see how, together, we can make your dreams come true. Whether considering traditional investments like a new home, car, your own business, security in retirement, or your child's college fund, we take the confusion out of the process and make an investor out of you. Call 396-3225 for an appointment. Leno, your bridge to the future.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy the best home internet experience for all your work, study, and entertainment.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
A slow night for league MVP Jonquel Jones in Game 2 of the WNBA semifinals, but her teammates had her back and the Connecticut Sun were able to even their series with the Chicago Sky winning 79-68. Jones had just 4 points to go along with 7 rebounds and 4 assists in 24 minutes. Game 3 is on Sunday in the Windy City. The New York Mets scored 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning last night as they defeated the Miami Marlins 12-3 at Citi Field. In 4 plate appearances, Jazz Chisholm's base on ball led to one of the Marlins' 3 runs scored on the night. The loss drops the Finns' season record to 65-94 with no chance at postseason play. Miami closed out the season at home this weekend with a 3-game series versus the Phillies starting tonight at 7:10 p.m.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Physical distancing isn't the same as being socially distant. I know that sometimes it can be a bit difficult not being able to engage in the in-person social activities that we did before, whether that be going to the movies or just hanging out in person. But remember that different does not mean distant. As the generation of technology, we can get creative in planning virtual parties with friends and family. Play online games with friends. Plan virtual family parties. Start a cooking competition among cousins or do a virtual dance party. If you do gather in person, however, remember to avoid gathering in large groups. Always ensure that you wear your mask to cover your mouth and nose. And remember, wash and sanitize your hands often.
Don't wait. Get vaccinated today.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
The Dixon Hill Lighthouse on San Salvador to let you know that marine protected areas make dollars and cents. A well-designed and managed network of protected areas can generate income for nearby communities. From MPA managers to lodges to eco-tours, there is money to be made.
Healthy marine ecosystems help to protect our islands from climate change and other impacts that we cannot control. Healthy coral reefs help to break down fake waves, and mangroves absorb storm surge and help to protect our coastline.
Older and larger fish tend to carry more and healthier eggs than younger fish. Fish replenishment areas will allow fish to grow bigger and ensure that we have more fish now and in the future.
In a replenishment area, fish are free to grow and reproduce. As their populations increase, more fish will spill over into other areas where fishermen can increase their catch and their income.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of marine protected areas on my island.
I support the establishment of a marine protected area on my island, and you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
And you should too.
See the future with Bahamas Protected.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather in the tropics, Sam is now moving towards the north at a very good clip, 20 miles per hour, still a very dangerous Category 4 hurricane, and it is anticipated that it will move well to the east of Bermuda. Nevertheless, those tropical storm force winds will affect the island of Bermuda beginning sometime late tomorrow evening. And then those swells northeasterly, you can see draped in red, all of the more easterly islands of the Bahamas can anticipate some northeasterly swells, and these will be more pronounced during high tides during the course of this weekend. And then there is Victor, still a tropical storm. We expect some fluctuation in the intensity over the next couple of days, but some weakening will begin thereafter over the next 48 hours, and we expect it to become a remnant low pressure by Monday of next week. And then in the tropics, in the long term, this area here just to the south of the Bahamas, sometime on Tuesday of next week, we expect a strong tropical wave to move across the northwest Bahamas. And then by Saturday, we expect an area of low pressure to form somewhere here around western Cuba. And the models are telling me it's going to move towards the north and east, and that should be pushing through the Bahamas sometime on the following Saturday. So we'll be keeping our eyes on this area very, very closely over the next 5 to 9 days. And then in the satellite pictures, you can see that Sam out there, well-defined eye as it continues to trek towards the north, trough trailing out of that around the Hispaniola area, and that's producing some showers in that area as well. Across the Bahamas, there's some spotty showers, so you can anticipate isolated showers here and there. Forecast for tonight, calling for breezy conditions, otherwise turning mostly cloudy conditions, 75 degrees for the low, and tomorrow it's going to be partly sunny and breezy with a stray shower or thunderstorm. High temperature tomorrow about 86 degrees, and your extended weather forecast keeping you pretty close to the mid-80s over the next 7-day cycle, and showers and isolated thunderstorms remaining into Sunday. Thereafter, we expect some improvement on Monday. Makishla.
Well, thanks, Basil. That does it for the Bahamas tonight. We thank you for continuing to make ZNS your #1 news and information network. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. On behalf of the entire team here, thanks for watching and good night.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.